What's going on, fishy friends? I am super excited tonight, even though we've been working hard on a variety of things. One, trying to get more shirts like this to you guys, getting these things out to people call me that are going to be on the show later, right when I started. But I wanted to feature something really cool, and actually that our guest tonight shares. And I was going to do this on the onset and have you guys wonder why I had my sunglasses on during a 7 o'clock show. But these are Hook Optic sunglasses. And the reason why I'm so psyched about them is that today, Bob at the Centerville store put my prescription in these big eye sunglasses. So they've treated us great. When we first started our partnership with them, I think, Anastasia would chime in with me on this. We looked at Hook and we're like, nice sunglasses are nice sunglasses. They really can't be that great. But without bringing down any other brands, I will say that I've held some competitors' sunglasses that I owned previously to our relationship with Hook recently, and the quality just wasn't there. And the fact that you can go into the store, buy your Hook sunglasses, and then an optical galleria, which is at Centerville, Easton, and Ocean City. If you're on the west side of the bridge, that Centerville location is probably going to be the closest for you. But you can go into any of those locations and buy your Hook sunglasses, and it's a optician right there on site. And is that right? Optician? Yeah. And they can put your prescription right in your glasses. So they're really good people. It's not a huge company. It's a small company that really treats you right. I know that CL Marshall, our guest, is a Hook guy. How you doing tonight, CL?
Man, listen, I got to tell you, I was in the store the other day. I just got some new glasses from those guys. And once again, with my prescription cut in them, man, they do a great job. Their service is outstanding. I got to deal with them. I was looking on the counter, and I had all these sunglasses from other brands. And, I'm getting a little older, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. Yeah. And my audio good?
You're good. You're good.
And so I was looking at all these sunglasses I had that I couldn't wear anymore because I couldn't see out of them. And I took them up to Chris there in West Ocean City, and he hooked me up with those right off the bat. And then when they launched the Hook brand, of course, I was on board with those. I rely on them a lot, especially now. I'm fishing around a lot of structure, shallow water structure. And it's amazing what you can see with a quality pair of glasses. Those glasses put fish in my boat.
What's that?
Those glasses put fish in my boat.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's the first thing that I thought of today. As soon as I put these glasses on, it's like, I don't have to change glasses to look at my fish finder anymore.
Bingo!
I was like, that's awesome. That's awesome. Man, we are hearing some, unfortunately, like we've been so busy, we hadn't had a chance to get out in the water since like a week ago. But we are hearing some amazing stuff about a fishery that really resembles what you guys have down there all the way up here. I mean, it is redfish bonanza up here right now. Bull red bonanza. What's going on down there on the lower bay, Captain?
Nothing to see down here, man. I tell you, nothing to see. Nothing. Fishing's been improving greatly. My fishing on the red specifically. We've gone from a red every other trip. Now we're averaging about 1.5 to 2 reds a trip. That's going to do nothing but get better. I think I registered 5 citation fish last week over 48 inches, which is outstanding. One for a young man, George Bondi, out of upstate Pennsylvania, and I've never seen anybody so thrilled. And that happens a lot. That's one of the most rewarding things that happens with what I do, is when you see a young man or a young person who's got a big red on their bucket list. You see them check that off. I mean, it's very rewarding. But the fishery's been good. We don't have it. We fish them a little bit different than they do up the bay. I know Jamie and some of those guys are finding them under breaking fish, and they're catching them on some lures and the like. We tend to focus on channel edges. The 20 to 22 foot range seems to be somewhat the most prevalent depth that they like to be in, adjacent to deeper water. Hard bottom for sure. Hard sandy bottom is preferable. Cut bait's what we're using a lot. And what we found is that once we hook up one on cut bait, the jigs go out immediately, and we bang some off the bottom and off to get multiple hookups that way. But right now we're catching right behind a Nancock. We anticipate it to pick up within the next 10 or 15 days south of us a little bit, down around Exmoor or Cape Charles in that area. I think they've done well there all summer, and but we haven't had to go quite that far for them yet. We did catch a bunch of them behind Tangier the other day, which was great.
So that's not real far away from where it's all happening up here. I mean, I don't want to, there's a lot of drama going on in terms of people sharing spots, and I'm like, look, guys,
we don't want to spot burn, man. No, my God,
Chesapeake Bay is huge. I'm not going to touch that. All I'll say is that Tangier Island isn't a huge journey from where all this is happening.
And that's fine. Everybody does it their own different way. But it's a lot of fish this year, and we're fortunate to have this red drum bite, and we're fortunate to have the wherewithal to be able to figure it out. Different people go about it different ways. For me, I like that evening bite, right around the edge of dark. But fishing's been halfway decent. On the offshore structure, we've been picking up good numbers of bluefish, 1 to 4 pounds, and we turn them into bait for the reds is what we're doing.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, a bluefish isn't real hardy, so you're not live lining. You just cut that up and chunk it.
Yep. Yeah. One of the things that we figured out last week, and the cool thing about what we do is that we're always learning. We're always a student of what's happening around us, and what I found, especially in the early morning hours, if I can find water that's 1 to 2 degrees different than the water around it, in those waters, I'm finding better speckled trout.
And you want, sorry to interrupt you, Captain, you want cooler water this time of year, right?
Yes. And, if you get something that goes from 86 to 85, stay there. Stay there. And what I find is that I find some places that on a flood tide, it's the water's coming in out of a deeper part of the bay, and up against an island, and that water was 2 to 3 degrees cooler, and in that water, speckled trout fishing has been pretty good.
I was just about to ask. I feel like sometimes with you, Captain Marshall, I could just turn on the camera and just kind of go have a beer, and you just run the report. But yeah,
I'm at Sterling Tavern right now here in West Oceans in Berlin. And these guys do a great job. They're a big supporter of everything that we do. And I got to tell you, the natural light is pretty cool. Come here, young lady.
What?
And this young lady right here, she's heading off to college this week. Where are you going to go?
Flagler.
She's going to Flagler. She's going to study what?
Hospitality management.
Hospitality. And your name is?
Maggie.
Maggie. She's Maggie Borelli. She's the daughter of Matt, the owner here. So let's wish her
nice
luck.
to meet you, Maggie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
But yeah,
you're being viewed by 6.5 million people right now.
I don't care whether it's 3 or 6.5 million. Whatever. But yeah, so fishing's been interesting. The speckled trout fishery on the bay side's been good. We're excited about that. We think it's going to get a little bit better as the water cools. Yeah.
So going back just a little bit when we were talking about bull reds, and then we'll come back to speckled trout. So you're catching them on jigs and cut bait, cut bluefish on a fish finder rig. You think?
It is on a fish finder rig. We use that predominantly. We've switched exclusively to circle hooks right now, which is a far cry from what I used to do. I used to be a big J hook fan, but with the circle hooks, I'm getting far less mortality with those. I get very few deep hook fish. The revival rate is quick. For the folks that want to snap a picture, we do that, and we return those fish to the water quickly. It's I won't. It's a contact sport, it is.
Yeah.
But we do everything that we can to make sure that the fish survive. And so far, I think we're 100% on our release rate on those right now.
Redfish are I mean, they're fish, but they're tougher fish. They're big, strong, muscular fish. They've got a big, thick armor on them. But are they as susceptible to being out of the water for short periods of time in the heat?
Yeah, they're hardy fish, that's for sure. And but it's just like us when we're underwater. We can't stay there that long. Right. And it varies from fish to fish. So what I would, if I got somebody that really wants to take a picture with a fish, that's done. Then that's done, and then the fish is returned to the water real quickly.
Yeah.
But they are hardy fish, but let's not abuse the resource. We're fortunate to have them right now. We don't know how long we're going to have them. They could go away like the gray trout did. Let's show them the respect that these fish deserve.
Well said on that, Cap.
I know that with a lot of my repeat customers, we don't even get the fish out of the water. We bring them to the side of the boat. With my leader material, I've gone up to 80 to 100 pound leader material on those 8-aught circle hooks. It's a lot easier on my hands. And so with that, I can have the fish at boat side, take the pliers, pop the hook right out, and just grab him by the tail and until he's ready to go, squeeze that tail and then send him on his way.
Yeah, and I mean you can with leader material that stout. I mean you can crank that drag down a little bit and sort of bully that fish up, so it's really not the fight's half as long.
That's exactly it. I made the switch because it was fishing to the south. I catch a lot of sharks down there, and the heavier leader material was a little bit easier on my hands. But we're able to put a little more pressure on them. We're using a little bit stronger hook, a little bit bigger circle hook than we normally would. So we're able to fight the fish quicker and get him back in his element a little bit quicker.
The jig that you're using, you said that you're using jigs as well in combination with the cut bait. You said you're fishing in 25 feet of water. So what is that, a 3/4 ounce jig?
Yeah, we're using old school right now. That's what we're using. The guy at Salisbury, we're real happy with his product. The hooks seem to hold up well to the fight. And he's a local guy, and I'm a fan of all things local. So we're using that, and I'm using a hoagie on it. I really like to use a big bait. I'm a big fan of pink. Other people do whatever they do, but I like to put that 6 to 8 inch hoagie on top on that 1 to 1.5 ounce jig and get it on down there, and make something happen quick.
1 to 1.5. Wow, I was way off. Okay, that's a pretty big.
I want it to get down to the bottom quick. I want it to happen quick. And what I find is that if we use a smaller jig, the hook just doesn't have the strength to stand up to the pressure that I want to put on these fish.
Yeah, I will say that and I'm plugging another sponsor tonight, but LJ at GI Jigs just made a new 1/2 ounce jig head with I'm blanking on the size of the hook, but it's got a huge mustad hook on that thing. That thing is a hammer of a hook. And it's only a 1/2 ounce jig, which for what you're talking about is probably a little bit light. But for fishing in that 15 to 20 feet of water, which, is going to be your cobia and a lot of times redfish, that's a perfect bait for that.
It is. And, and I look for that. I look for that specifically when I'm jigging for reds. But as this fall progresses, I'm looking also for that same bigger hook for striped bass as well. I hate to buy a cheap bucktail. I hate to buy a cheap product and have a customer or have one of my friends or have me for whatever reason, have that hook bend and I lose that fish. We spend too much money to put ourselves in that position. So let's pay the little bit extra and have the good stuff to make it happen.
Well, you are definitely a responsible sportsman, and we all appreciate you for that. Um, let's transition to the speckled trout bite. You talked a little bit about that. Are you still finding those trout in skinny water, or are they moving to a little bit cooler waters in the deeper?
I'm fishing in 4 to 8 feet of water right now. I thought that I would be able to have a good bite on a little bit of deep water structure, and that was okay for a while, but that's kind of fallen off right now. But my perfect scenario is if I can find, coming off of a flat, like a 3 to 3 foot flat where it drops into about 8 feet of water. I'll fish those edges right now on the incoming tide in cooler water. That's optimum situation right now.
And that's cooler water because it's coming in from the ocean, right?
Well, coming in from the deeper parts of the bay.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. It's funny you said I did go on the seaside behind Chesapeake the other day, because usually this time of year we have some show up around Virginia Creek and in that area, and I caught a bunch of corn cobs over there. It wasn't what I'd hoped for.
So the speckled trout that you're catching, what's the technique that's working? Are they holding tight to structure, or are they a little bit down current or up current from it?
They've been more temperature sensitive than anything. Temperature's been the driver. I've had a tremendous success, not tremendous, my better success of late has been using a shallow diving Yozuri. Crystal minnow is what I've been using. And I'll give it three or four good hard rips, boom, 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 boom. Create a commotion, make sure they know that wounded bait fish is there, and then I'll let it sit. 3 or 4 more and let it sit. And that type of rhythm, it's a rhythm to it, has produced a lot of bites. Lately.
Got it. Are you finding any Spanish mackerel mixed in with occasionally with that?
I've seen some, but I'm in too shallow water right now to be catching those. And I've been fishing around the outside ship at Tangier a little bit, and for bluefish, and I've seen some Spanish there, but I haven't targeted them as of yet. I know that they're catching a load of them south of me around the Exmoor, Plantation Creek, that way around the cell, and I know that the Puppy Hole has been a good bite there recently. So there's plenty of them around for those folks that want to target them.
Your crystal minnow, I've used those a lot actually in late winter, early spring for striped bass up here. But I think it's a 5-inch crystal minnow. What size is the crystal minnow that you're using for specks?
I'm using the 3.5. I think it's a 3.5 or 4 is what I'm using right now, and I like that because I can rip it really good. I can make it happen across the surface. And if I go with the bigger one, unfortunately, I can't create the commotion I want. And I'm using those HMG rods, those Fenwick HMG Inshore Classic rods, which I like. And I err on the light side of that. And if I get a lure that's got too much drag on it, then unfortunately, I can't present it well. So with the setup I have with the small inshore HMG and that crystal minnow, it's a good setup and it's effective.
Okay. My lovely co-host to my right has a question. She says, Lady C asked, I hear you have a new book coming out, Captain. What's it about and when can we expect it?
We can expect it in October, and I'm pleased to say that I saw the cover of it today, and I'm very pleased with the cover. The name of the book is Chesapeake Bay Adventures. The subtitle is Changing Tides. It's a more or less a progression from the first 3 books that I've done, and it kind of shows a natural progression of most of us as we go through our hunting cycle and our hunting lives and our fishing lives, from going through the 5 stages. Now we're more of a steward of the environment, a steward of the resource, and a teacher, if you will, and sharing a little bit of knowledge like we're doing now. And the book kind of shows that. There's 28 short stories in it. And the short stories are great because you take it in the bathroom, you set it there, you read one story every time you sit down, It's perfect. So the
I don't
book
know. I think I might be like a 2-story guy.
whatever. It's 14 days. But there's 28 stories. The photography is by a group called Locked In Production. In the past, we'd used Paul Bramble, and Paul done a fantastic job for us. Paul's talents have taken him in other places now. So these local guys, Ethan Peterson and Caleb Abbott, and those guys with Locked In Productions, they provided me with some outstanding photography.
That's great stuff.
Especially on the red drum fishing and on the goose hunting. So we're excited about that. But the book should be available in most bookstores locally and on in Amazon and probably your Walmarts in mid-October.
Well, we're very much looking forward to it. Yes, you are sharing a lot of knowledge and a lot of tips and a lot of information, but a better way to do that is to book a trip with CL Marshall. How does someone do that?
Now you can just give me a call at 410-251-7341.
410-251-7341.
Yes. Or you can just hit me on Facebook at Tangier Sane Charters. Or anyway, I'm available in many different areas. But the Facebook message always works, or just a text message or a phone call, and we can make it happen.
And your name's not like Bob Wilson, so like if someone searches CL Marshall, they're pretty likely to find you on Facebook. I'll put your information up on the screen.
Yeah, I tell you, one of the cool things that we've been doing lately in our trips, because it's been so hot, and I don't care who you are, the most diehard fisherman, you're 6 hours out there slinging lures. That's a tough detail. I've been breaking it up a little bit. I've been doing it fishing a lot around Tangier, and I've been sailing into Four Brothers. and scooping up some ice cream in the midday, and that's always good. You get you a nice twist cone there and shoot the crap with Tommy a little bit.
Do they have those? What are they? Smith Island cake that's got like 44 layers?
No, but they got wet willies.
Oh, that's Smith Island, not Tangier Island.
Yeah, but Tangier.
I probably just made some enemies. Huh?
Tangier invented the Smith Island cake. You need to
Did
know
they
that.
really?
Yeah, absolutely. We
There's
don't give them
some knowledge
Marylanders.
right there.
We won't give them Marylanders credit for nothing.
Well, I'm sure we sparked some debate, right?
I hope so.
People love drama. I stay away from it, but people love drama.
Now, Maryland rockfish season's back in now. So that is what it is. And there's plenty of rockfish around. It's nice to see. We find them in some places that are very oxygen. Thank you. That are very oxygen deprived. And rockfishing's been good lately. We find them. I fished that whole west wall of Tangier the other day with that new Mancola trolling motor. Stuck that thing right into the tide, and I fished the whole wall. We picked on rockfish the whole way. It wasn't fair. It just wasn't fair. So, but I hear the chop tank is loaded with good fish.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I first started fishing this area, I was always told, once it gets hot, you got to look, 25, 30, 35 feet for rockfish in the summer. And like the more people that I talk to and the more times I go fishing, but the more people I talk to that really know the craft, I'm surprised how shallow you can catch rockfish in the heat of the summer. You really can,
I had them the other day in 2.5 feet. 2.5 feet of water.
Yeah. You're talking what? 87-degree water, right?
It was 88. They come out of the water medium rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was shocked. I stopped in there. I stopped in there on the Lark. We were coming back from Smith Island. I said, "Hey, let me try this flat here for a minute." And as soon as we got there, we started catching fish, and it was pretty much nonstop for about an hour. So it was plenty of them. We were speckled trout fishing, and unfortunately, rockfish season was closed.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Tell the rockfish not to bite the lure that is the exact thing that a speckled trout. That's what I always tell people when we have that shut off period in the spring. I'm like, you throw a 3-inch DOA out there on a 3/16 ounce jig, nobody's going to tell you that that's a rockfish bait. You know, that's a speck bait. So, you know, what are you going to do if a rockfish hits that? Captain Marshall, you are a pleasure and a wealth of knowledge. I'm getting a note over here. Okay. Trying to. All right, guys. So if you're tuning in to watch the next fishing report, the Eastern Shore Fishing Report with Kaz Kenny, Kaz is dealing with a storm, no power, no internet. So we're going to try to make it roll, but we'll see. If you don't see us tuning in a few minutes, see us logging in, then we probably have issues. But Captain Marshall, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for everything you do. I think it's neat that we're able to share this information. You know, it's fishing. Sometimes people are a little secretive. People are a little clannish. They don't want to share that information, and that's fine. I understand that fully. But I hope that the people that are listening, kind of get something out of this and something they can use. And I appreciate you guys for providing a format where we can share that information. So thank you.
Well, Captain Marshall, you're our kind of people. We really want to focus on the information of fishing, on the positivity of fishing, and avoid the friggin' drama. You know,
listen,
just go out and fish.
The last time I spoke with the lady at the house, I invited her to come down and go fishing. And every time I look at my door, I don't see you guys. So come on, let's go.
Hey, you keep inviting us. We'll be there. We've been known to take people up on this.
Well, I hope you do, and I look forward to you guys sharing the boat with me one day.
Awesome. Good stuff, Captain Marshall. Thanks so much for everyone that tuned in. If you watched the recording, thank you so much for watching. CL Marshall, you're the man. We'll see you next month, buddy.
Look forward to it. Y'all be safe.
Take care. You too.
Just hang around. Too proud to be your